Jane, I'm so excited to have you, so welcome.
Thanks, Stephanie. Lovely to be here.
So we're here to chat a little bit about your research, and I am really fascinated with the area of research that you work in, which is the area of hubris, and hubris in our leaders. So tell us a little bit about your research and what you found.
Yeah, I looked into a large case study in the UK NHS. And it was interesting because it was a sort of national hospital trust. And there was a public inquiry, thousands of pages of evidence into the downfall of this public hospital, which was one of the largest healthcare scandals in the UK, if not the world. I was looking at this idea of hubris, and when I looked through a lot of the evidence, it was clear that at the management level, hubris was rife throughout this testimony. But also for me, what was interesting was the contamination of hubris. So people often look at hubris from a very individual, sort of psychometric perspective, the hubris of a singular person, the CEO usually. And what I was interested in was the contamination effect. So how hubris can spread this and the ideas of hubris throughout the organisation, and how it becomes entrenched in the sort of lifeblood of the organisation and the consequences of this. So it grows sort of much bigger, and it sort of grows to a point, I think, of being completely uncontrollable. And the consequences are obviously devastating.
So does it create something of a toxic environment then?
Yeah, I mean, I think hubris is interesting because I think many leaders are hubristic. I think a bit of hubris is perhaps not a bad thing. We want our leaders to be confident, we want them to be risky, we want the sort of bravado, the sort of danger and the sort of, the lack of sort of fear that comes with leadership. And I think in the short term, often, hubristic leaderships can be very advantageous and you see them. But I think there is a tipping point at which any sort of positive benefits start to fade away if the hubristic leader is not brought to heel somehow. And then I think it creates a toxic environment as those around sort of model that behaviour and it spreads.
So how do you know if you're at that tipping point?
Yeah, I think when you stop listening, and I think when you stop accepting feedback, and I think when you stop accepting that there are things that are not going right. I think when you actually start to believe in your own sort of godlike presence, and you're believing in yourself, and you're believing when people around you tell you you're great, I think it's very easy to fall for that all the time. And I think if you're the leader, one of the things that you get is, you get people being super nice to you all the time and everybody agrees with you. I mean, I'm a dean of a business school myself, and, it's one of the things of the job. Suddenly people are super nice. A lot less confrontational than if you weren't the dean. Right. And I think you have to be very aware of that and the sort of attractiveness of it, because it's a good feeling. And I think you can just sort of over-believe in yourself, and you start to think you're a bit godlike. You start to think you can cure the world.
You believe your own press, kind of.
Yeah, you believe your own press, yeah.
So how can we take actions? How can we help a person who's in that situation? Or how can a person recognize that in themselves and perhaps rein themselves back in? What are some actions that can be taken there?
I think there has to be organisational mechanisms. I also think there can be personal mechanisms for you as a leader. I think, people talk about Churchill actually as an example of hubris, and they talk about his wife as keeping him grounded and stopping that hubris becoming dysfunctional, because she told him, she used to sort of, ground him back down in reality when he was kind of becoming overblown. And I think many good leaders surround themselves with people that bring them back down to earth when they're just overplaying their hand and saying, look here. And they do it privately, and you have that person that is your foil, if you like, and they will tell you and you need them. And I think really great leaders, make sure that that person's in place. But I also think there's some organisational processes you can put in place, with the board and with, organisational policies around voice and around feedback and around people giving opinions that can also protect you from hubris turning into high levels of dysfunction.
Thanks so much, Jane. We really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Stephanie. Lovely. Thank you.